This is your actual host, me, Mike Garrison, with today's guest, Tina Corner Stoltz, absolute sales god. Um, Tina,
Goddess.
Tina's a great friend. She's awesome. We're gonna have a lot of fun. But Tina, if you wouldn't mind, as opposed to me just prattling off about why you're so awesome, introduce yourself to the fine folks on the podcast.
Thank you, Mike. I am actually excited to be here because I know we're going to have a great conversation that has been unplanned. So I, the short story here is, and there'll be a little bit of context probably because of what we're going to talk about today, but I grew up on a farm in Missouri, and very small place. And fast forward, sales is my background, as you kind of referred to, and I sold telecom, long distance services, when everybody was scared to death that if they switched from AT&T, they would all, lose their jobs. And you can relate because you sold copiers.
I owned a lot of cards.
Yes. And I actually paid for my first job. Like, I actually paid for my first sales job. I paid $1,500 to get it, full commission. And everybody goes, "What do you mean you paid?" I go, "It was during the day that you actually paid the recruiter."
Oh yeah, as a salesperson, yeah.
As a salesperson. And I thought I was going to actually die of not having any money to eat and stuff. So that's a different story. So my mom gave me really good advice about just take rice and put a piece of cheese on it and you'll be fine. So I fast forward though, got into the peer group business in 2005 as a franchisee, and you can relate to that as well. And then started LX Council in 2013, where we are the educator in the peer group space. Our mission is to educate and help those who want to create and run successful peer groups. We are the place for that.
I am definitely biased, seeing as I'm one of your clients.
Yes.
But today, the title of the podcast is Why Should I Refer You? And I just want to set the stage. Tina and I talked a little bit about it, but this question is happening every time you meet with somebody that's a client of yours or a potential referral source. The problem is, in most referral systems, in most referral strategies, or in the world at large, this question is asked unconsciously and answered unconsciously. And that, my friends, is not how we take care of other human beings and ourselves. The goal of this is to help you understand that that question is real, and that the most important word in that question is the last one, you. At the end of the day, don't be afraid of the question. Instead, be excited about who you are and finding people that want to help you. When you heard the title of the podcast, Tina, what did you think?
I thought this is typical Mike Garrison.
Okay.
And okay.
You got to give everybody context that doesn't know me.
I know. You're just straight out, why should I refer you? So the direct statement that always can be counted on to come from you.
Yes.
Yes. So when you said this is the title of your podcast, I actually thought that is a very, very good title, because to everything you just said, why should people refer you? Most of the time people think the opposite, right? Why should I refer to you? Which is what you're talking about. But they never ask themselves the question, why should somebody refer to me?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And that really is at the heart of this. I mean, one of the things that Tina and I share for the podcast listener is we both work with groups of people. We both are in a position to refer a lot of business, and a lot of people are aware of that and want those referrals, which is not always fun.
No, and they can't have them always.
Correct. So that leads us to, that's coming, but let's start here. When you think about your career in sales and also as a business owner, how would you describe your experience with referrals?
That I find this interesting, by the way, that the first thing that came to my mind was a personal referral, was on the personal side. And I'm not really sure why, because I actually never thought about it before until you asked the question. And and I'm fascinated by that was the first thing that I thought of, which was when I was going to college. So keep in mind, okay. So keep in mind, I came off of a farm in the middle of nowhere. There were 30 people in my class, 150 in my high school from 7 to 12. So that tells you most classes were under 20 people.
Wow.
So we didn't have football, and there's all kinds of things. There's all kinds of things I was not aware of. I go to the University of Missouri, and
Small school.
small school. Exactly. And prior to classes, I decided to go through sorority rush, right? Now, I was unaware of a lot of the nuances of the big schools and how those social girl networks worked, and not necessarily having maybe the right clothes and all of those things. And so I go through rush, and the house that I ended up pledging literally was because I was referred there.
All right, I'm in.
Okay. So
All right.
now and it was because I actually knew a couple of the girls there, but it was referred, and I was cut by my mom's legacy house. So okay. So it dawned on me of that, wow, I don't know that I would have gotten in necessarily, or it's very much, that's a very much kind of a little bit of who do you know, but refer back then. It's less so today, as it should be less so today. But I also look at my dad, and I recognize he never advertised. He ran many businesses, and I'm not aware of him doing a single advertisement. It was all referrals. He ran a car dealership, and he ran a liquor store. He ran that was beside the
God's work.
dealership. So that tells you something, buy the car, get your alcohol, drive home.
What he needed was a tow truck.
He did have one. It was called Becky. It was a huge tow truck, and it was called Becky after my grandmother, which was his mom. Big red thing. Yeah, he had a tow truck. Yes.
So I mean, that's a different kind of tech stack.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So, as you know, the referrals, as being in sales can be make or break of being number one or not. And literally I found that in selling long distance, the importance of referrals, the importance of my sales team getting referrals so that we could be number one as an office, right? And so it matters in the difference.
Not
It's
that you like
also
winning. Not that
winning,
you like winning.
not at all. It's all about winning. It's not about losing. Just,
Correct. Well, you know
yeah,
what second place is?
that's right.
First
Wow.
loser.
Yeah, exactly. The first loser. Is that what you said?
Yes.
I've never heard that. The
Oh,
first.
like I saw Glenn Ross, and
Oh my gosh.
I was like, well, that is very nice and civilized compared to my experience in the copier sales world.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
like he didn't hit anybody.
He did not. He did not hit it. Yes, now he did it. Yeah, that's another thing. I rewatched that recently.
It's crazy. So I want to get back to something you said, which is absolutely true, and it really will bring us even deeper into the subject, which is the make or break. And so a lot of people don't understand that referrals can absolutely make or break the individual salesperson big time.
Mhm.
Even more so when you think about scaling. So much of what attracted me to this referral concept when I first heard about it, when I was selling copiers in DC, was this ability to have other people prospecting for me. I was ignorant. I didn't really understand, but I was like, hey, this is great. Like if I develop relations with other people, I can have more sales activity that I don't have to conduct every meeting, kind of the top of the funnel concept. The challenge is is that, like any real marketing system, if you invest poorly, you get worse results because referrals take time, like relationship development. And so when I look at the why should I refer you, I know as a prospect or a referral source, whenever I'm looking at somebody that wants referrals from me, I'm all like, as a business owner and an experienced salesperson, I'm always thinking first, not even about reputation, right? Because if I don't like you and trust you, like I'll be nice to you, but you're never making it back on my calendar. But I'm always thinking about, all right, how much time am I going to have to invest with this person to generate the results that they want? And will that be worth my time? Fundamentally. And I was talking about this with a technology guy this morning. Like, people don't know how to sell to CEOs. You know, like if you like getting somebody's attention isn't good enough anymore. You have to be able to get their attention and then reward them for giving you that attention. And the same thing happens with referrals. That first meeting, your job is to reward the person that introduced you to that prospect you're meeting with. Like, you have to perform. So that takes us to this. Tina, from your this is a big question. Take it wherever you want. What makes someone worth referring for you?
Meaning, why would I refer to someone? What
Yeah,
do they need to have for me to refer to them? Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm keeping it general because there's a lot of ways you can respond.
Yes. I when I think about the people that I love to refer to, or I do not like to refer to, it starts with we have a trusting relationship. Aside from, I understand what they do really well. I believe what they do really well. I think they do an exceptional job at what they do, etc. So
Table stakes. That's
right,
table stakes,
that's
right?
exactly right. That's like the minimum entry ticket, right? But the rest is one is, how do they treat me? Because if they don't do such a great job there, they're probably not going to do a great job with whoever it is I refer them to. The thing, and you and I have talked about this before, my number one pet peeve, and I know you hit upon this a lot, and I'm glad that you do, which is the lack of, when you do make the referral and they never let you know how it went. I hate that. I have that today right now. There is one that bugs me, and I'm waiting it out, and I'm waiting it out, and I'm waiting it out, and I'm
It's
waiting
so
it out.
frustrating. It's so frustrating.
It is so frustrating, and I almost, it's going to sound dramatic, not intentional. It's disrespectful, because haven't they made a referral and wondered like how things went? And then when they realize, like, oh, I should, at least say thank you, give an
Right.
update or something, right? And then it just never happens. And then you finally go, hey, whatever happened to whatever? Oh, I mean to tell you, no, you didn't, because you didn't until I just reminded you I wanted to know, right? So I know you do talk a lot about that, but one, that they will follow up, and that they're actually grateful that and appreciate it, because and I know you talk about this. You kind of want to know, did I hit the mark? Did I not hit the mark? Was that a good referral? Was that not a good referral? So I can learn for the next time.
Now that's key. So I just got to make this point because that's beautiful. What people don't seem to understand, and really is going to be a big emphasis on the book, Why Should I Refer You, that's going to be coming out next year, is digging even deeper into the concept that I talk about in Can I Borrow Your Car, which is a person apiece. This referral game, if you sell stuff that's expensive, that's really worth referral marketing. Financial advisors are near and dear to both of our hearts for multiple reasons, including marriage, right? Right. But like these professionals, sometimes get taught referrals in a wide angle kind of thing. And I do have a strategy for that. It's simple. You tell people you love referrals and then help them. Right there you go. Don't need new meetings for that. But when we get into the micro application, Tina, and this is really what you were talking about, is this: you have to be able to identify who really likes the referral process. And when I say that, I'm talking about all three participants: the salesperson, the referral source, and the prospect, right? And that's what I feel like has never been talked about enough, including by me, is that what we're really looking for is some psychographics, right? Because you're one of those people that doesn't just want to refer and say good luck, don't want to hear. Like there's an aspect of, hey, if I gave you something, I want to make sure it helped you and was useful. That is the number one thing I look for and I teach my clients. Find and identify the people that enjoy, that get emotional cognitive rewards from helping other people. And all you need is 5 of them. And you will rule the world in your little niche, right? And that's it. And so what's interesting is you specifically talked about that you're kind of looking at this person that wants those referrals to have that mindset as well. Like, hey, this is great. This is cool. Of course, I'm going to let you know. Like I dropped a ball on a couple referrals, not completely, but I got overwhelmed with too much
I
business.
was like, what happened to you?
I waited too long to hire more staff, and then I got overwhelmed. I had a friend who's on the podcast right now with me who had told me months ago I needed to hire an assistant, and I didn't listen. There, I admitted it. I didn't say you did it, but I admitted it. So,
Yes.
like, and I apologize. Luckily, most of the time I'm on board and I'm on top of it. And so you build margin because referrals aren't always going to go great. Sometimes stuff slips through the crack. I had somebody give me the riot act yesterday in an email.
You.
Yeah, I had done a presentation to this large group of people for free about centers of influence and said, "Hey, look, if you want to follow up with me and connect, we can do it." Like, and I do that all the time. But this person had sent me an email basically telling me, "Hey, look, I know you have referrals to give coaches. I'm here for it. Let's schedule a meeting." And so I initially didn't respond. I just didn't respond because I was like, like it wasn't a huge issue. They're not a perfect vendor
No.
for me, right?
Oh.
But then they sent me a follow-up email 4 months later. I guess not. Hey, in the future, you might want to, you might want to tell the truth when you tell people you're willing to help them. And so I looked at it for a while and I responded back and I said, "Hey, I apologize. I did drop the ball on that. I got your email. I just forgot about it. I'm sorry." I didn't say, "Let's have a meeting," but I was like, I dropped it. And he actually, you know what? I apologize. I should have followed up earlier. And I have not responded because I agree with him. like, like this, like, why are you guilting me when I'm a potential referral source? Oh my God.
Yes.
It's just class. I'm sure that's happened to you where someone is like, wow, Tina could give me all this business, which is true for a number of different people. Not that you will, but it's true. And then all of a sudden, they get angry at you before you've agreed to do it. They get angry.
Entitlement. For better.
Yeah. Like, how have you, I know it's happened to you. Um, how have you dealt with that in the past with the people that are just bad actors, right? But potentially because they were referred to you or like part of your network. How do you handle that part of contention?
Because you never want to lie. So, right, no lying. So
Well,
what
you shouldn't lie. I do want to lie sometimes. I just
I know it's tempting, but it's like, no. So, because I know you're a faith-based guy and so am I. And so you struggle sometimes like what you really want to do versus what you shouldn't. I actually say when I get somebody coming in hot and I can tell they're like, what can you do for me? What can you do for me? And we haven't built a relationship at all,
Mhm.
or minimal. And what I will say is that I hear it. Thanks for the time. It's good to hear, exactly what you do, et cetera. I just don't have anybody right now that I think is a good fit. And then I never do have anyone that's ever a good fit to refer them. And that's
Yeah.
basically how, now I'm gonna have to come up with something else in case somebody that's listened to this and then I talk to them like, I just don't have a good fit for you. They're gonna know where I'm coming from. But
So it's interesting to me because like where this always hits me is with financial advisors, right? I have been specializing in coaching, consulting, and working with financial advisors for almost 30 years, right? Which tells you that this, if you're watching on YouTube, the white hair it is authentic. Well,
mhm,
and I'm always amazed and but never offended, but I'm always amazed at when a financial advisor that's not a client of mine, but knows I coach, like for
mhm,
a nice retainer, other financial advisors, when they pitch me on going through their sales process.
mhm.
I'm never offended because number one, it's kind of a compliment. They're interested in me.
Yes.
I'm never offended.
Yep.
But it's always awkward for me. And I'm inconsistent with my response. So I'm going to work on one. You've inspired me.
Ah, okay.
But at the end of the day, I think what I'm going to start saying is like, hey, I'm really flattered that you're interested. And you're right. Like if I did go through your process, even if I'm already with another financial advisor, I'm sure I'd pick up something, right?
Mhm,
Here's
mhm.
the deal. How do I answer my clients, right? My clients that are in your profession and maybe not as good as you, maybe as good, that have paid me hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? And have never prospected me as a client, right? How do I answer to them? And the other answer is like, quite frankly, nothing personal, but I'm not interested generally, unless you're a client of mine, in your sales process. Because if I go through it, I'm going to end up coaching you for free,
Right. Yeah.
right? So it's just always interesting how we do that.
Yes. Mhm.
All right, so we got 7 minutes. We got 7 minutes left, and I have a timer going because I promised Tina it would be a half an hour.
No, Mike promised himself it would be a half hour.
But you're my excuse to behave
Yes.
better. So when you think about you and referrals for you,
Mhm.
why do you believe, and this is not a challenging question, so but it's two parts. So first of all, why do
Okay.
you believe you're worth referring to? And
Okay.
I refer to you, so if you can't answer it, I will. Comma, why do you think it is, or what have you heard from people that do refer you that they say? Because I'm always most interested, not in my answer to the why should I refer you question. I'm really interested in my client's answer to someone else about why that person should meet with me.
The second one is a challenging question. So the first one, why refer to me, is what I like to believe is I really expect is probably the right word, anticipate that the referrals are going to come from, first of all, people that know me.
Mhm.
And they have to understand like what I do and why our program is better than the competitors' programs or et cetera. And I also like to think that they are comfortable referring because it doesn't have to be perfect. And if somebody isn't a fit, I am not going to push what I'm doing on them. It's not a hard sale. And then I would have whoever it is they're referring is their best interest at heart. And it has to be a win-win. There's not a win-lose there. So the win-win mentality, and I like to think too that they know it will be carefully held, and I will follow up and tell them exactly. I make a point that as soon as I'm done with whatever, I give an update. And so I don't forget. It's just part of and as in sales, like when you're done with the sales call or whatever, you better do whatever it is you're supposed to do, or it's going to like fall off the wheels, right? You'll forget. So I do that. So I believe that is it. And that I try to have the abundant mindset. And then if I can't help that individual, I try to help them in whatever way it is that, as for the reason they were referred to me. So maybe it's not because they're going to utilize my services or anything. Maybe they should go look at something else, or etc. So you try to accelerate their path forward, whatever that looks like, because the bottom line is you got to make the person who referred to you look good. I know you
Period.
talked about this, but
Period.
you do.
Period.
And as
Yeah.
long as they look good and feel good about it, then the referrals will continue, and that's what builds the trust, et cetera, right?
Yeah. There is I'm always interested in the second referral I get from a referral source, right? Because most of training on good referrals occurs after you refer once. Because at that point, both parties have some ROI that can be, hey, we've done this and how'd you like it? Can we do it again? And we start to get proactive. I will tell you why I refer you.
Okay.
And it's
That will be good.
like, no, trust, love, all that stuff's there. Like, Tina is a close, dear friend that I trust on every level. We got there because early on in our relationship, because I am a professional salesperson coming from B2B commercial sales. And I believe the safest drivers in the relationship business are people that really understand a complete sales process. Because those people are focused on asking really good questions to identify which prospects are the right fit for what they do. Because professional salespeople don't want extended meetings with people where they waste their time or the prospect's time. They know that is death for everyone. And and they're looking, and that's what I like most about you is I don't feel like I have to give you perfect referrals where I have to complete the sale for you. I trust in your ability and your skills, your commitment to professional and personal development, which I've seen ongoing. I trust in that skill set to have you ready for anything that happens on the drive. And I don't think people understand that. Like, we've got just a couple minutes left, 2 minutes left. People, read a book on professional sales. One of the best is Gap Selling by Keenan. When you understand a full sales process, you will either think that it is manipulative and controlling, which means you shouldn't do referrals. You're gone. Or you'll be like, wow, this is caring. Like, really good sales is loved by prospects. They love buying from great salespeople. All right, Tina, we've just got a couple minutes left.
Okay.
What's one thing that you thought of that I didn't ask you about? Or something you'd like to share with the audience about referrals from your perspective? Because I really value it.
I'm laughing right now because I had it in my head and just lost it while you were talking. I'm like, oh, this is a point. This is a point. I remember the point. And it is, there are times when things don't go well. Like this happened to me yesterday. Somebody referred a potential, licensed partner to me, never talked to them, etc. And the guy goes, the person, let's say John, referred Joe. Okay. And Joe, we were trying to coordinate this 3-way call. And Joe goes, I can do that time that John and I could do. But he goes, but I only have 10 minutes. And I replied back, I go, well, why don't we choose a different time? Because I don't believe we're going to have a productive call in 10 minutes. And we're going to end up creating another call. I said, but I'm happy if that's really what you want to do. I'm happy to do that. But my suggestion is maybe we find a different time. And then Joe, Joe writes back, goes, no, that's okay. I'm not, and he just like exited and says he doesn't even want to have the call now. Right. So this is, and I go, uh-oh, did I piss him off? And so I go to John, a separate email. I go, first of all, I want to apologize if that upset him. I just didn't feel like this was going to be a good use of our time. And if I did, I apologize. And then, of course, John writes back and says, no, he's just being flaky and he doesn't know what he wants to do. So I avoided kind of a waste of time. But my point being that I want to say to people, there are times when you feel like maybe you're doing the right thing with a referral and it doesn't, for whatever reason, doesn't go well. The best thing I could ever always do is fall back on the sword or whatever, go to the source and say, here's what happened, just, your feedback. And it usually is never actually on me. It usually uncovers something that is negative anyway, but they appreciate it because people must not do that.
They don't. They don't.
At all.
Like,
yeah.
What happens all the time is the person finds out 6 months later when they're meeting with their client. They go, oh, by the way, how'd it go with such and such? Oh, that was a terrible meeting. Well, why didn't you tell me? Well, it wasn't your fault, but I just it was so irritating. I didn't feel like talking about it. Well, that's 6 months. You probably didn't get another referral.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's terrible. So
yeah.
we're landing the plane. We're landing the plane. This has been amazing. I may have to have you back. Where can people find out more about you in multiple ways?
One, they can talk to you.
True story.
You did say multiple ways. They can go to our website, which is lxcouncil.com. If you want to hear any podcast, we have a podcast. You can go search for Mike Garrison when he was a guest. It was a great podcast. It's called Mastermind Mastery. You can look that up. And those are the best ways, because when you go to the website, you can also, if you want to email me, Tina, Tina at lxcouncil.com as well.
I will tell you that if you're a business owner and you are either a member of a mastermind type group or you've thought about it, you should read Tina's books. Her books are fabulous, right? You can get them on Amazon.
Yes, you can. Thank you.
And they're hardcover, so they're durable, unlike mine. Don't get my books wet. They're done. But Tina, it's been great. Thank you for being on the podcast. It's going to be fun. And everybody, if you've got somebody that you think would be a great guest, please let me know.